Hello fellas, in the third episode of the Corsair build I'm going to make the wheel wells and the gear legs look awesome, so let's build, paint and weather. Let's start with the assembly of the gear bay and removing some of the parts that will prevent me from folding the wings. Most of the tools and materials I use you can find linked in the description. As usual, Mr. Cement does a great job holding the parts together. And here you can see how easily the photo etch gets trimmed from the excess material using just nail scissors. For the larger and more stubborn photo etch pieces, I use cyanoacrylate glue. Getting a small area at a time glued so I can position and bend the rest of the photo etch detail if necessary. This piping or cable set that comes in photo etch is a little bit hard to position because it catches everywhere on the ribs and so on, but when you try to be a bit persistent and glue each section at a time, it can be done. Here I chose to make the photo etch follow the relief of the detail. So this is how it looks with the photo etch details added. Now I'll add some more extra details like these hoses which connect the master cylinder to the cylinders that open and close the gear bay doors. Also using soldering wire I added some pipe that comes across the gear bay. And using small strips of masking tape I made the hose clamps. The fishing line is very easy to glue using cyanoacrylate glue or super glue. I guess it's designed that way. So let's move to the gear legs. First I had to remove some of the material that was not going to be needed anymore because of the photo etch set. You have to be careful with this because some of the parts are quite thick and they require some force to be removed. And also, despite the kit being good, it still has inherent issues with parting lines and so on. And here, great help are the microfiles that I have. You can find a link in the description for them. And it's time to put the photo etch accessories and build up the gear legs. I will build them almost entirely before I start painting. I think it will be okay. So with that, it's time to do some scratch building. First I'm going to put a spacer from a round rod so I can attach the photo etch bracket that is holding the front part of the geared bay doors, and then some brake lines, again using fishing line. Fishing line is nice because you can have various thicknesses and basically imitate all kinds of hoses and stuff. Here also I'm going to use small strips of masking tape to simulate those hose clamps. For the rear wheel, there are those plates which have some holes in them, which holes are not present in the kit. You can leave them like this and paint them black, for instance, but I chose to drill holes where holes are due, so I think it looks a bit better. And then again I had to remove some material to install some more photo etch parts. As you can see, the kit is very well engineered, everything fits together nicely, and basically there is zero issues with fitment and so on, even with the photo etch parts that I added. Now let's move on to airbrushing. First off, of course, it's the primer. Again, Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black. It gives nice foundation for shadows. Next I'll use the Glossy Sea Blue from Mr. Hobby. This is a color that's gloss, obviously. It is from their nitrocellulose line. Next, a quick dry brush using Glossy Sea Blue with a drop of white. This time the colors are acrylic from Life Color. In this area, the weathering I'm going after is going to be, I don't know, maybe not very realistic, but in my opinion the gear base and the gear legs are getting beaten a lot, so there will be some chipping and stuff going on. With the same color, maybe a little bit lighter, I will do the initial chipping that shows some paint that was chipped but not to bare metal. And also I'll use this for some highlights. So for the weathering stage, I think it's fair to beat up the gear legs and the gear base because there is quite a lot of moving heavy equipment around them and hooks and all kinds of stuff. So it is very hard to imagine that unweathered detail in this color will have any kind of definition to the details in it, so the weathering is just necessary. And here is the chipping done with Citadel Runefang steel and a brush. It's a matter of simply dabbing some of the paint down to the surface in as uniform as possible fashion. Also the same color I used for some of the hydraulics. Here you can see me doing more chipping, trying to do it inside of a non-metal chip. As always in my builds, I do some kind of experiments, something that I have never done before, or I have done but it didn't give me good results, and I tried to make it work by doing some adjustments. Tell me in the comments if you see this as a good way to weather this specific airplane and its undercarriage. So highlighting all the edges with some chipping gives a very interesting effect in my opinion. I also did some green primer chipping, but unfortunately I don't have the footage, so it's just the same as the bare metal chipping. And for painting the hoses and stuff I used again acrylic colors, in this case for the pipe main color and the brake lines I used black, and then with some dark gray I did some highlights so we can have some more three-dimensional appearance to the item. Let me know in the comments what do you think about my freestyle voiceover, and if you like it more or less than the one with the script. And for the hose clamps I used even lighter gray to enhance their appearance. Thank you for watching this far, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and watch more of my videos. Until next time, happy modeling!